What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Lore Reloaded. My name is James. I am your lore master tonight. Good to see everybody here, ready to get just into it. Ready to break everything down. Hey, if you're watching this video on demand, you know exactly how this is about to work. I'm going to tell you a couple of things. It is very important that you check out twitch.tv/Lore Reloaded if you like playing games, or if you want to see what's going on, go to twitter.com/Lore Reloaded. From there, you'll be able to see all kinds of fun stuff like upcoming events, who I'm going to be partnering up with, collaborating, as well as talking about politics or whatever you just want to do. Is something wrong with my voice? From there, yeah, there is something wrong with my voice. What is going on? Hold on. As well as talking about, hold on, let me know. Press 1 in the comments if that's doing any better. As well as talking about, hold on, let me know. Press 1 in the comments if that's doing, oh, it's still having issues. That is weird. That's healthy, that's working. Microphone looks good. Hold on, let me adjust it. All right, is that any better? Give it a second. I'm going to keep talking, and let me know what is going on. I'm gonna even put it in here so we can hear. All right, is that any better? Oh, that's a lot better. All right, so we're doing good. We got it now. It's fixed. It's all fixed. All right, so let's say hi to a couple of people. We got Jackson Kennedy. We got Captain Jesse 1. We got Thomas Potts, Jason Rogers, a dumb, edgy name saying that there are 4 lights. DV in the house. The Iron Wolverine. 14K Leom. Jackson Kennedy. What's going on, Jackson? Josh Street. All right, so let's go ahead and just break it down. Let's start talking about William T. Riker. And if he is a good guy, a bad guy, or just someone that is written incredibly poorly. And what's interesting to me is that generally when they write William T. Riker, when you see him in The Next Generation, he is either somewhat of comic relief, or he is sidelined, or he's there just to give just a general piece of information. In other terms, he also is a ladies' man. He's very suave, and he will make fun of other officers that are below him. And so I'm curious what your guys' initial thoughts are on this, because depending on the episode you're watching, he comes off as a creeper, like just incredibly creepy. He comes off as a bully. He comes off as someone who is not knowledgeable in any way when it comes to combat. But he also does come off as a wise in some instances, as a guy who's moving up, as the natural replacement for Picard eventually. Red Snopa, hey, Laura's back. How was the water park? Had a great time. A lot of fun. Thank you so much. Riker got a lot better as TNG went on. That's true. Riker didn't do nothing. What's going on, Michael Dunn? Michael Dunn, not Michael Dumb. Aetheron says, #1 also serves to add extra doses of smug in the first few seasons when Picard isn't enough. Yeah, and you know, I would almost agree with the opinion that he got better as time went on, though ultimately he had fatal flaws, like, again, the ability to go into combat and not get a ship ultimately destroyed, and to not think that, combat was a small purview for a captain. But then you have Best of Both Worlds, where he really shines. And so I suppose as we continue on, as it moves up throughout the seasons, it gets better, but he always has those flaws to himself. And I know they tried to make him somewhat Kirkish, but because they made him like Kirk, they made him quote-unquote Kirkish, he came off with all of the flaws of Kirk without really any of the bravado or the positive attributes we see of Kirk. Because Kirk was he was a warrior. He was a good captain. He was good at combat. He could fight and not get his ship destroyed. But he also was pretty creepy. Pretty creepy in a lot of different instances. So they tried to make him somewhat like Kirk, and they gave him some of the negative attributes of Kirk without really the positives. But I'm curious to see what you guys think, where it goes from there. Mike Vasquez says, I always saw Will Riker as the kind of character a person would write if they didn't understand Star Trek and made a fanfic about James T. Kirk. Now, that is an interesting way of looking at it. And I would almost agree with that to a point. Because, again, they made him a ladies' man. They made him someone who would go after women, but not necessarily respect the boundaries therein. Again, and that is very much like what Kirk would do, right? And so how do we push through that? Where do we... I don't know. It's intriguing. Red Snopa, I hate the term creeper. Some people, like myself, are just socially awkward. The only time I'd call someone a creeper is Anakin in Episode 2 after killing the Sand People. I disagree. I think he fits the term of creeper quite well with his interactions with some women. And, you know, I'll try to think of specific examples, but there were times when he came on too strong or when he was inappropriate, especially with people who were under his command. And honestly, like one instance, and they were drunk. I know that's more a reflection of Diana or Troy, when they had gotten drunk and he had sex with a character that didn't survive. I forget her name. She was a tactical officer. And Deanna was like, you know, you just wanted to do it or something stupid like that. But yeah, I think he came off as creeper, or if you don't like the term creeper, also the term stalker, I think, or anti-woman would be another one. Yeah. Monk says his creepy factor comes out when he is accused of murdering that doctor and we never really get the truth out of it. Sure. I can agree with that. I wish I could remember specifics about the moments. Yeah, I'm sitting here talking about it, and I had a couple of examples while I was getting ready, and now they just completely go up. I mean, honestly, it wouldn't be hard to sit back and find them, though. Honestly. Benjamin Cisco Faux Life. Riker is just way more cheeky than is good for him, says Sean K. I mean, I could agree with that. And yeah, he had sex with Lieutenant Yar. And... Rolaren. No, it wasn't Rolaren. It was Lieutenant Yar. Or maybe it was Rolaren. I think it was Yar. But anyway, and Deanna was like, well, that just must have happened, you know, even though you were under the influence. Jackson Kennedy. I like Riker. I think he is able to perform in any situation. I just think he is too pampered. His transporter brother was a very awesomely written character. I liked Thomas Riker. I think they kind of went cliche with him in Deep Space Nine towards the end. I did like Thomas Riker overall. He had some fatal flaws that I wish they had done something different with. And what Thomas Riker did with Deanna was unfortunate. I think they could have went somewhere else with that. You know, that is somewhat disappointing. And yeah, there's 61 people watching, only 13 likes. Hit that like button, people. Hit it. Hit it like it did something wrong. If it was both, then Riker got around a lot talking about Rolaren and Yar. He got around a lot regardless. Even if he hadn't done both Rolaren and Yar, he was known. And that was a common trope for him. It came off as a joke sometimes. And I think it did a disservice to the character, ultimately. The biggest disservice, though, I do sincerely think, was the fact that he was not good at combat. And anytime they put him into a combat situation, the ship was either completely wrecked or it was destroyed. And really, Best of Both Worlds is the only time that it wasn't, and that ship got... in that, he used a weapon that just didn't work. He was almost utterly useless during that entire time. And then when you look at the episode where he talks about how combat is a small purview for a captain, he really eats his words. Just left, right, and center. Marananor. Remember when Riker wanted to have a relationship with that one woman? Her species had no gender, but she identified as a female, and then they did a wipe on her. I found that actually very interesting. I thought that was a good episode when it comes to discussing fluidity of gender and things like that. I thought that was an interesting way of looking at it, and how society reacts and how that goes through. I did, in fact, enjoy that episode. The fact that Worf was willing to help him came off odd as me. I'd have to rewatch it, but I didn't like Worf helping out. I didn't think Worf would have done what Worf did, but I don't know. I'd have to rewatch it to really go over and break that down. Sean K., the problem with Riker and Deanna is that they could never decide if they were just good friends or still in love. See Riker's jealousy towards Worf, yeah, especially when it goes into the alternate universe. I'm glad that they ultimately got Deanna and Riker together, because that's just what it was building up. Though again, looking at Deanna, she was worse than Riker in some ways. Remember when they first met and she was using her telepathy to talk to him and just to like tease him and taunt him, and the characters were written so poorly in the first and second season. I mean, just bad. Riker was a Kirk in a post-Kirk era. I would agree with that. I just don't think he was a good Kirk either, you know? Riker in command is as bad as Troy at the helm. I agree. Do you think during yesterday's Enterprise, if Yar slept with somebody during the time the sea was around? What? Do you think during yesterday's Enterprise, if Yar slept with somebody during the time the sea was around? Probably, especially during times of war, people generally do that. So, yeah. Worf was a good wingman. Probably his romantic definition between human and Klingon. I don't know if Worf is a good wow. I don't know if Worf is a good wingman or not, by the way. The movie Generations, Riker should have been court-martialed for the failed tactic of emptying the damaged star drive when a saucer separation was needed 5 minutes sooner. Yeah, there was a lot wrong with that, and that's one of the reasons why I'm not the biggest fan of Riker. His tactics make absolutely no sense. If you have a bird of prey that old, even if it's bypassing your shields and it's just completely devastating the ship, a Galaxy-class starship is much, much more powerful than a Klingon bird of prey during that era, even if that one had been upgraded. They should have turned around and just overpowered the ship 9 ways from Tuesday. They should have just pummeled it with phasers and photon torpedoes. And just laid waste. The ship would not have survived long at all. There is no contest between the Duras bird of prey and the Galaxy-class starship. It's just stupid. Worf is the kind of guy that is so straightforward that his attitude gives you courage around the girls. Riker committed a number of court-martial offenses, even before you start getting into tactical fails. I'd be interested in what you think, Atheron. What specifically did he get into? Where did he go from there? What court-martialable offense occurred? Riker's mostly romance, a nice guy serving an anthropologic university ship.
That's how far the world is from where I am. Just one bad day.
By the way, shout out to David Deister giving $15, guys. Hey, becoming the current Lord Champion of the night. It is through Super Chats like that and support through you guys that this channel continues to go. So thank you so much. Have you read the Star Trek Titan novels? I have, in fact, not read the Star Trek Titan novels from any perspective. I have them downloaded on Audible, I think. Either that or I had them ordered. Maybe those were the ones that weren't, and that's why I haven't listened to them on Audible. I would be interested, because a lot of people talk about it, and I hear it's a really good series, and I would love to ultimately finish that, or get through it, because a lot of people talk about it. Let's see. Remember when Deanna lost her ability and she was freaking out because she wasn't in control, and Riker pointed it out? I do. I also remember Riker putting his arms around her and kissing her and trying to hug her, talking about how he does that with Worf and Geordi, and basically admitting that he, would sexually assault most of the crew, though he was also obviously joking when he said that. Etheron's starting point would be everything around the Phoenix incident, turning phasers. Welcome to Taz, becoming a lore master. Starting point would be everything around the Phoenix incident, turning phasers on fellow Starfleet personnel who were trying to stop a treaty-violating experience. The moon just went behind the... The Expanse, by the way, is very, very awesome. Thomas Potts helping out the channel. Let's see. Staying, would you punish Riker for what happened on the Pegasus? For those who don't know what occurred on the Pegasus specifically, the Pegasus was using a illegal cloak, and there was a mutiny. He sided with the side that was going against what Starfleet ideals were. Yes, but I do think the fact that he came out and he admitted it, and that he was being honest about it, and that he was, helped them discover what was going on, I think specifically that does play a role. And so while I would have definitively punished him, I think that it would have been a lighter sentence because he ultimately came through and he admitted what was going on. So yes, with a caveat. Obviously. How did Riker even get to stay an officer and first officer on the Enterprise D after the phase cloak? Because it's TNG, and they never fired anybody, even if you did something wrong, because of their enlightened state. That's why they would have never done it. I also think that probably because of how he helped out and helped identify the issue, but also I would point out that it was, or how he came forward and he helped, foil the plot of the evil admiral. But also, I would think that Section 31 probably played a huge role. I don't think many people were punished for that, honestly. I think Section 31 stepped in and took the cloak, and it was just a big deal. They pretended what was going on. Why does Riker straddle all the chairs? He confuses them for females, is the way I'm figuring out. I don't remember Commander Riker with Tasha Yar, but I do remember Commander Data and Tasha Yar. Well, it wouldn't be Commander Riker. Well, it might have been Commander Riker. He was with Rolaren then. Is TNG Enterprise mostly a flying university? No, it's. I actually look at the Next Generation. What's going on, Angel, with the shotgun? I actually look at the Next Generation as or the Galaxy class ship as an apartment in space. They are it's literally a flying apartment complex. You have everything you could want. They have effectively a zoo. They have shops, they have barbers, they have medical facilities. It was ultimately meant to be like a colony ship, but not a colony ship. That they sent to fight Romulans and the Borg and all kinds of, stupid stuff. Lore Reloaded, you dummy. Don't say evil admiral. All admirals are evil. So saying that is redundant. That is true. It is a little bit redundant. Riker probably just got it put on his record. Yeah, if that. I honestly don't think it was probably that bad. One of the dumbest episodes of TNG I've seen was Riker kept experiencing an acid trip or something from an alien child who kept minding.
All it takes is one bad day. That's how far the world is from where I am.
I have other
Just
Batmans.
one
I promise
bad
you.
day.
Technically, his insubordination towards Jellicoe could have gotten him kicked out of Starfleet on its own. So here's the point with Starfleet during the Next Generation era. Starfleet during the next, and again, thank you so much, Atheron. It's stuff like that that just keeps the channel going. If you guys didn't support me through super chats and other ways, I couldn't do this. Starfleet during the Next Generation era was Starfleet during the Next Generation era was very pacifistic. They were very laid back. Barely a military, though they did have military points to them. And so it was basically like Boy Scouts in space, where if you did something horrific, it wasn't necessarily that bad. And you would just get a slap on the wrist. And as long as you followed the line, followed the Starfleet motto, saying, hey, you know, look, here, look now, listen. Only like one person got that reference. But if as long as you were a part of the peacenik, pacifistic, Starfleet evolved human, you didn't get in near as much trouble as anyone else. Old Firemaster up in the house. Hey, we're going to have to play Star Trek Online soon. I'm getting back in the game, man, so we'll be doing that very shortly. Jellicoe was the good guy. I agree. He was also an actual military commander. Of that, I would agree as well. The only captain to get fired in the TNG era was Captain Ben Maxwell. Ben Maxwell was fired during the TNG era? Wouldn't he have been fired during the DS9 era? I don't think he was fired in TNG. Benjamin Maxwell. Oh, yeah, it was. You're right. And he wasn't fired. He was court-martialed and put in a prison for a long, long time. I was thinking Benjamin Maxwell was actually the guy who joined the Maquis in Deep Space Nine. I was wrong. As I recall, Jellicoe was stationed on Enterprise because he knew the Cardassians, says Lore Actual. Yeah, and he did a good job. That's the thing. He did his job, and he did it well. And he was very, very effective. By the way, shout out to Logan, who is an absolutely awesome person and really cool. You are so right about Space Boy Scout. Yeah, they were the Space Boy Scouts. I mean, full stop. The Enterprise E could have been a big adventure to stop any threat, but you had to bring the kids. Yeah, the Enterprise, well, the Enterprise E could have been a big advantage to stop any threat. Well, they didn't have kids. You didn't have families come Enterprise E. They actually learned, both the writers and Starfleet learned their lesson when it came to TNG and when it came to the Galaxy class. They did not have families after that. Let's see. Until JJ called BS on the whole pacifistic Starfleet. Indeed. Indeed. How did JJ call BS on the whole Starfleet? Sorry, guys, answering something. I'd like to see I'd like to see an Edward Jellicoe series. That could be interesting. It would be very curious if they actually came out with a militarized series or episode. I'd love to see it myself, but I don't think they'd do it, honestly. Another good example to bring up would be Conspiracy, where Riker and Picard killed officers who were effectively being held hostage instead of trying to rescue them from the bugs. Another good example to bring up. I don't know that there was anything that they could do during that time, though. That was almost self-defense, in my opinion. I mean, that's a good point. I'd have to think about it, but phasers weren't working, you know? phasers weren't being effective. So, I never really looked at that as a negative. What do you guys think? Was that something that's court-martialable? Enterprise D felt like the Love Boat in space. It absolutely did. I completely agree. Produce Guy giving $10 saying testing this out.
What is on your face? Is that a disguise?
Excuse me.
Produce Guy is testing it out. What's going on, Produce Guy? Thanks so much. If you actually have a question, let me know, and I'd be more than happy to answer it. Again, donations like that really help out the channel. Thank you so much. Jellicoe was most likely Section 31 or a pawn. Super secret ship captain that was willing to let his whole crew die and no filling for them after. I actually agree with that. I think that Jellicoe is probably a part of Section 31, which would make sense when he says, I have friends that will get me out of this. And I do think that he handled it well. I do think that he probably, there was probably a trial, possibly a fake court-martial, and then Section 31 helped him out. I honestly, sincerely believe that. By the way, everybody relax. Admiral Alexander has arrived. He has arrived, boy. 1 second, I'm sorry, guys. Sorry. Let's see. Was Admiral Sati ever punished for her witch hunts on the Enterprise? I would say she was. I think they talked about that. Towards the end, they probably removed her from command, if I had to guess. Honestly, I think they probably removed her from any ability to do anything, and she was probably shamed. I don't think she was put into a court-martial or jail or anything like that, but I do think most likely she was never looked at positively after that. Geo Francis 2001, hello from Scotland. Honestly, the thing with those bugs I would call similar to Borg assimilation. Yeah, I mean, and unlike some instances with the Borg assimilation, at that point, you have to defend yourself and you have to end the threat. So I agree. I don't think that should have been court-martialed. I completely agree. Past tense of arrive should be arrove, says Taz50. But seriously, folks, he'll be here all day. Micah Leith is in the house, but he cannot stay here. By the way, 98 people watching, only 41 thumbs up, 1 thumb down. What's going on, people? Hit that thumb up. We gotta let those people thumb up. By the way, if you like this and you want this to continue, I have some special stuff coming up, and I really want to expand and do almost like an H3 thing with live shows and stuff, and I can only do that with your help. So if you consider checking out patreon.com/lorereloaded, there's going to be some updates to what you guys will be getting becoming patrons as well. Admiral Alexander says, what was your opinion of Admiral Nachiov, or however that name was pronounced? Remind me what Admiral Nachiov actually did, and I will give it to you. Let me see. Oh, her. I just always looked at her as the primp, pumped up, never seeing the forest for the trees admiral that never really did a lot and told everyone else what to do. Honestly, she would come from behind and tell people what they should have done after everything was done. I really like when Sisko somewhat goes off on her and he says, I forget the argument specifically, but she leaves and he's like, what the hell is she expecting me to do? What does she think that I'm trying to do? Her problem is that she's on Earth. She doesn't see all the things we go through. And that's the way I really look at it. She's just pompous, 50, looking at what has happened and and telling you what you should have done after she has all of the information. Would I ever do a joint live show with the Anti-Tracker? I have done multiple joint live shows with the Anti-Tracker. In fact, the Anti-Tracker, before he was the Anti-Tracker, did joint live shows with me. He got his start off of this channel. A lot of people want me to have arguments with him about First Contact. There is a video coming out on Tuesday where I specifically rebut his shield and weapon upgrade. And in fact, he is so wrong when it comes to transporters. There is so many examples of transporter technology going through shields. It's insane. Joseph Parrish. She's the stereotypical bureaucrat who got her position by butt kissing rather than actual competence, in my opinion. I don't know how fair that is because we never really see how she got her position. So I don't know if that is necessarily considered fair for her. I would say that if she was a captain, she's been an admiral so long that she's forgotten what it was like and how she got there. She told Cisco to open up a dialogue with the Maquis. That's right. And then he's like, what the hell does she think I'm trying to do? Which is interesting. I'd have to go back and look at that because the Maquis were open to conversations. I don't know. Oratakawa Tinga. Nachev was stuck in an ivory tower goody-goody admiral who needed to do a deep space assignment to get a real view of the United Federation of Planets. I would agree with that. She needed to be put back on a ship. She had been in paradise for far, far too long. So, see, the best of both worlds, I think, is an exception to the rule when it comes to Riker, because Riker is written exceptionally well in Best of Both Worlds. He makes a good captain. Even if he makes some decisions that ultimately don't work, he's written so effective that while I'm glad we kept Picard, I think the show would have been just fine with Captain Riker. I am glad that Picard came back. I'm glad that Patrick Stewart decided to stay on. But had he not, I sincerely think that Captain Riker would have done fine. Had they continued to write him like they did. Pre-Beard Riker needed to be court-martialed for that flashback episode, Data Something's Got Me, over and over. I'd have to rewatch that. Oh, Riker with Q power, sexual assault on Worf and physically assault on Wesley, a minor even, via transformation without consent. You'll have to remind me of that, Atheron. What exactly did he do there? What's going on, Enderman of Doom? Good to see you, always. I wish that Elizabeth Shelby would have stayed on the USS Enterprise after the Best of Both Worlds. I think that Shelby being the first officer and Riker being the captain, it would have been fine. I think it would have been really good. What are your thoughts on standard Federation ship designs we all know versus an individual Federation world ship, like Vulcan ships? Are many worlds producing standard Fed ships or just Earth shipyards? So we've had multiple discussions when it comes to Starfleet ships and where they come from. There are shipyards that are across the Federation, and we hear them talked about during different episodes. We know that the main shipyards are Utopia Planitia, as well as some shipyards on Mars. And those were where the bulk of the Starfleet ships come from, I think. But I do think that Starfleet ships are made across the United Federation of Planets borders. That said, I think that militia still exists, that you still have Vulcan ships, you still have Andorian ships, you still have Betazoid ships, and they work as militias, whereas Starfleet ships work as the federalized when there's an actual fight. Summoned a Klingon woman who immediately began a mating ritual of hitting and then aged Wes. He summoned a Klingon woman who immediately began a mating ritual of hitting and then aged Wes up. That is horrific. I would agree. I don't remember that episode. That's horrible. The fact that Riker wasn't a captain by the first Contact film was absurd. I agree. Even if he, I think that any military, if he had tried to stay in his position, he probably would have gotten kicked out, in my opinion. Wesley is the guy to play Minecraft. Wesley is not anything. Wesley is just horrific. Bad writing. Insurrection, I always thought was a decent show at Riker's Tactics at Command. Was that before or after he got his ship completely destroyed and then decided to use a joystick to win the game? Would you like to see a Captain Riker movie or TV series with a new kinds of new things for him to lean on? It would be interesting to see Riker. So if they had a Star Trek Titan series, I could get down with that. I could be a fan of that kind of series. Did Riker turn Data human as well? I don't think he turned him human. Maybe he gave him laughter. I don't know. In my opinion, says Robert Schurston, and we actually talked about this, Riker was Roddenberry's answer to Kirk for TNG. They're very similarly written. Yes and no. They are, talk to you later, Michael Leith. They are written similarly when you take his suaveness, his want and need to be with women, his playerness, the stalker factor of Kirk, but not when it comes to being a warrior or a military officer, at least not early TNG. He kind of grew into it at a later point. But, yeah. Where's the Star Trek Worf series? A lot of people want a Star Trek Worf series. I don't think it would do well. I don't think that anything that isn't human would do well. And that's just me being completely honest with you guys. Oh, by the way, guys, just so you know, really cool thing, the Star Trek Apologist channel now offers free videos 24/7. It's one of the things you can get at his channel specifically. So if you want free videos on YouTube, then you got to check out his channel. And he in fact made it to a live stream. Yeah, Riker in command of a ship is like Deanna at the helm of a ship. Let's see. My half-orc Fringer had Federation control, still flown manually, pushing buttons. Isn't intimate. Okay. All right. At Lore Reloaded and everyone else. So, all right, people. Who's a better commander? Or potential captain? Chakotay or Riker? If I had to put my money on it, I would say Chakotay is the better executive officer and the better commander. I think that when you take a look at Chakotay's diplomatic skills, when you take a look at how Chakotay handles combat, military instances, I think Chakotay was an excellent executive officer, and I think he would have been a great captain. I do like it when they do that with the character. I also think Tuvok would be a better captain, honestly. Tuvok rocks it out every time he is a captain, which is interesting to me. But yeah, and Riker, I don't... Save for the bad writing where he can't keep a ship alive during combat, or keep a ship not destroyed during combat, Riker has some good points as a captain. I just don't think they let him grow. And honestly, it may have been just experience. By the time they got to Chakotay, they were more experienced and comfortable with writing an executive officer, whereas they weren't during the Next Generation. No Discord calls today, Enderman. Of course, Thomas Riker joining the Maquis. By the way, 4 cis rolls and nothing more, becoming a lore master. Welcome. Welcome, good sir. Of course, Thomas Riker joining the Maquis would have had Starfleet looking very closely at Will Riker for a while. I could see that. Well, but, you know, this would still be during the Next Generation pacifistic era. Even though it's Deep Space Nine, we would still have the pacifism. So they probably would have been like, oh, well, that's just weird, and then not looked closer. I'm really surprised that they didn't have fail-safes for that, though. You would think that they would have known that someone who can pass himself off as a decorated officer, that there need to be additional ways to catch them. At Lore Reloaded, Starfleet's run under a matriarchy. They like bad students more than the good ones. What? Do you think Tom Paris stayed in Starfleet once getting back to Earth? I don't know. Probably not. That just doesn't seem his dig. 4 Swiss rolls and nothing more. I'm a girl, but thank you. You can still be a lore master. By the way, 4 Swiss rolls and nothing more. Do I know you? Are you a girl I know? When I first heard your voice, I thought you were related to SF Debris. SF Debris was a huge influence on this channel. I've in fact reached out to him, and I would love to talk to him, or if he's ever in my town, or if I ever see him at like a VidCon, I would love to take him to lunch and just ask him. He was a huge impact on the channel, and someone I really look up to. A bit off topic, but do you know why they had no dedicated comms officers from TNG on? Probably because they gave it to Tactical. Communications officers made very little sense in the Next Generation era, because it made sense in the original series because you still had to understand dialects, you still had to understand nuance and things, but I think once you got the advanced technology, it was no longer necessary, you know? When you think about it, Chakotay was one of the first who questioned Janeway when she did something odd. Yeah, he was a good officer. He was a good XO. Do you think Wesley is that bad of a character, or that he was in a bad episodes badly portrayed? For Swiss, the answer to that is yes. And then you're going to ask me no to which question, and again, I'm going to say yes. Chakotay in command... Chakotay in command of Voyager versus Sisko in command of the Defiant. Who would win in a battle? I mean, there's more to it than just that. Because you have to look at the advancements of Voyager versus the Defiant. I think... I don't know. I'd have to think about that, because Voyager, I think, would be a little bit more advanced than the Defiant was. But the Defiant was more powerful with its ships, so you would just have to get a solid hit. I don't know. 4 Swiss rolls and nothing more is still not answering my question. Are you who I think you are, or are you just a random person? If you're a random person, that's fine, but I think I know who you are. Was comms part of an ops station job? Then why did Tactical get to use the hailing button? I didn't think it was part of ops. I thought it was a part of Tactical. I think Tactical handled it. Tuvok acts like a Vulcan from the Mirror Universe, if you think about it. He can. The actor for Tuvok did pretty... he didn't start out doing well, but I think he really came into it and rocked it out as a Vulcan towards late season 1 and then on. I think he really does well as a Vulcan. Let's see. They made a fun of the dedicated comms officer idea a lot in the movie Galaxy Quest. Yeah, they did. Galaxy Quest was awesome. Sisko is a war criminal. That's all you have to remember. That is true. Sisko is indeed a war criminal. Let's see. I'm not... Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I thought that was cool when they did that with... Sisko, but it kind of diminished Q. But you never saw Q come back, which is kind of interesting. By the way, you guys want to see... do I have it? Let me see if it's still alive. I actually did a parody video of a DS9 and Family Matters. Let me see if it's still up. It probably isn't, though. Probably not. Because it has Sisko and Q in it, which is why I want to kind of go through it. I think you guys would really enjoy it. Let me take a look real quick. Please hold. And while it's holding, let's see. Do we have any questions? Who's the better captain, Sisko or Kirk? Sisko, hands down. I mean, you don't even have to ask that question. Who's the better captain? Who's the better... Please. I tell you what. Sisko's a better captain than Kirk. Prove me wrong. And you know you can't prove me wrong, because Sisko is the best captain. And let me see if it's here. Search across your channel. I do want to search across my channel. Family Matters. Nope. DS9. Parody. Nope. Maybe it's crossover? Nope. Man, I gotta find that because I want to show you guys that. Let's see. Sisko is also a prophet of the new god, so guilty by reasons of insanity. Okay. Actually, Riker both trying to help Wes get laid and telling him to shut up count as mitigating factors in any punishments he should suffer for shooting people. I don't... Riker did a lot of bad things. Riker was a bad person in quite a few ways, in my opinion. And the stuff he did with Wes, I don't even remember that stuff. But if he did do that, then that is just bad. I mean, what the heck is going on? Let's see. And what am I looking for? Where am I going with this? Wait for it. No. Nope. Let's look into this one. Yeah, let's go here. Is Kirk a war criminal too, then? Why would Kirk be a war criminal? Walk me through that. What exactly did Kirk do to be a quote-unquote war criminal? Oh, I did a Full House edition. That's where I was failing at. Let's... Can I go to it, please? Here it is. I'm going to show you guys this if you want to watch it. I think it'd be pretty interesting. I know I'm losing people because I keep looking for this, but I thought this was cool. So let me show it to you because I put this together and I'm a dork. Hold on. Wait for it. Who is the best first officer? I'd have to say Kira.
Whatever happened to predictability? The milkman, the paperboy, evening TV. Did I get delivered here? Somebody tell me, please. This whole world confusing me. Clouds as mean as you've ever seen. Ain't a bird who knows you're true. Then a little voice inside you whispers, don't sell your dreams so soon. Everywhere you look, there's a heart.
I have too much time on my hands. I actually created that. I did a lot of crossovers.
The moon just went behind the clouds.
Star Trek apologist, $1 for each sub. Thanks for suggesting me. Well, it wasn't my intent to get paid to do that, but I was just trying to make a joke. But I'm glad it worked out. Yeah, if you guys want to see more of those, I can show them to you. But yeah, I did a Firefly parody, and I also did a Star Wars parody, if you guys want to see it. Yeah, I got too much time on my hands. I love doing crossovers like that. I just think they're fun. But anyway, yeah, we're still roasting Riker, if we want to. Lore Reloaded, do you have hope with writing and behind-the-scenes shakeup of Discovery? No, I don't. They've lied too much. And I'm not necessarily a huge fan of that. I want Discovery to do well. I don't care if they keep the same people or if they go different. I just want them to do well, you know? But I don't have a lot of hope. All right, so let's put if you guys want me to do another one of the parodies, put one in there. I'll do another one of the parodies that I've done. If not, we can move on to something else too, of course, or continue talking about this. But that was the Deep Space Nine. Did I do the Firefly one here? I did. It was Firefly and Power Rangers. So I can do that one if you guys want to. One in there if you want Firefly and Power Rangers. Or two if we just want to keep it moving. Keep it going, as it were. Where did you guys go? What did I do? Nope. Oh, there it is. Give it a couple more seconds. Riker looks like he is 95 years old. Does he have a disease or something? He does, in fact, have a disease. All right, we'll do this one too. These don't get flagged, but watch it get flagged. Watch. When you're lost out there and you're all alone.
So no more running. I aim to misbehave.
Yeah, I actually started doing those after Unusual Suspects. He just inspired me to do that. Or The Unusual Suspect or something like that. He does them really well. I do not. That was just me having some fun. All right, we're going to do one more, and I may actually just end it on this. I think we've had why not talk about Killjoys while you're at it? Who's Killjoy? Walk me through that. There was one more that I did, and it may actually be on this specific channel. Let me see. And then we need to go back to it. Star Wars and Power Rangers mashup. Let's do Star Wars. No, I forget what the mashup was when I did Star Wars. So I'll have to take a look. But yeah. I don't know. Do you guys have anything else you want to add to Riker? Because I know I'm losing people because they don't like it. They don't like it. You should definitely do more of those. Those are great. I have thought about doing it, but it's outside of the scope of what I generally do on this channel. Not only that, my other concern is that mashups are not necessarily protected under fair use. So I would be less than open to doing a lot of them. Just because I don't think it would have... I would just be pretty trepidatious. All right. Here's one more, and then I think we're going to end it on that. I will wait for you guys to see it. And if you have any more questions, we can talk about Riker or whatever. But yeah, I enjoy actually showing you people this, even though you guys don't seem to appreciate my genius. Here we go.
I want you to know failure, utter defeat, and...
It's another Power Rangers.
These tricks will amount to something, maybe save you from time to time, but they won't keep you alive in the long run. Only training and discipline will do that.
Whoop. All right. Yep. So, someone asked if I had military training. I actually don't. My family is a military family. The fact that I'm not in the military is an aberration. Generally, people go into the military, but I haven't. I don't have any military training. Anti-Trekker does. He was actually in the military. The Go-Go Power Rangers theme song would have been perfect with Star Trek Discovery, but really expansive copyright. Yeah, I won't touch Discovery at any point. All right, we're going to be ending it, guys. Do not end the stream yet, Admiral Alexander. What? Okay, Admiral Alexander, you got to tell me why I shouldn't end the stream, because we're going to be ending it fairly quickly. I don't know. I kind of like those TNG edits on YouTube. I like the one where the ship is in danger. People are dying and Picard is in his room trying to play the flute. I've never seen that one. I'll have to see that. Lore Reloaded. I'd like to see a after DS9 series where somebody name drops Admiral Picard, Captain Riker, and Sisko's return. That would be interesting. I agree. I think that would be kind of fun. But yeah, Admiral Alexander, you got to help me out, buddy. You got to say something quick or we're going to be ending it. Paladino. Yeah, I'm actually the same way. It goes back even beyond the Civil War. My family's big on the military. Here's something cool I'll show you guys. My grandfather was World War II, and he got a lot of when he was in the military, and he went to different places. He would get the actual money of the governments. So he served in the Philippines. He served in Europe and things. And so, for instance, you have like he got the money and he kept it, and it was actually what he gave me when he died. And I have like Japanese and German occupation money, and it's really cool. I will talk about the Expanse, J-Wigs, within the next week, and it'll be specific to the Expanse. Final question from me. At the end of the day, do you believe that Riker would have survived the up or out filtering to become captain? I think he would have become captain. I really do. Big Boy McCoy saying, great channel. Thank you so much. I do think he would have become captain, ultimately, if they had forced his hand. But yeah, with that, guys, I want to thank you so much. Yeah, Admiral Alexander, I got more questions. You never respond in Discord. Show up to an early show, man, and I'll talk to you. I'm so busy that doing it on Discord is hard. I wish I could. It's just hard to respond. But guys, I want to thank you so much. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. And I'm going to see you on the next Lore Reloaded.